I'm Nancy Lavoie. We're going to talk about putting a snaffle bridle on today. And this bridle has a flash noseband. You're going to be presented with many different kind of nosebands. You're going to ask your trainer what's the best way to put them on and what are the adjustments correct for each horse. You're going to get to know that and you're going to try to be fluent with that day to day. But today we have Rudy here and a snaffle with a flash. If you watched my tack cleaning video, you know that I hang up the bridles in a way that makes it really easy to put them on. So the first thing is that we hang it over with the brow band facing toward us. And you're going to open the buckles. And then the reins are in an easy place to go right over their neck. I really like them to be standing independent from me when I'm trying to tack them up, when I'm trying to put their bridles on. I really don't want that horse challenging me as far as, you know, being all over me and also not wanting to leave. This is a little bit something that you need to practice, and your mindset might have to change about that. Because even though we're nervous that the horses are going to leave, the more you hold on and grip on to them, the more they need to leave. So you're going to create the situation that he can be patient and stand still, independent from you holding on to him. And that's just going to be how you're going to work around him with everything that you do, bringing him to the cross ties while you're grooming him. You're going to create that space and that understanding between the two of you so that when it comes to putting the bridle on, it's not a new idea. Most of our horses all have their own bridles, so they don't need to be adjusted horse to horse. Some barns you're going to work in, you are going to have to change the bit or the noseband. I prefer to do that before I put it on the horse. If you don't know the holes, then you're going to ask, and then you're going to try to remember that for easier time, or write it down. You know, everybody's got a whiteboard or something like that. Write down how many holes up and down for each horse. I'm going to put the reins over his head. Take the cross ties off. I'm going to take the halter off. I never throw anything on the floor, but for sure not leather. So I'm going to put the halter over my arm. Rudy is going to understand that he needs to stay here with me, whether I hold on to him or not. So that behavior needs to be talked about already. Because if I'm feeling like I have to hold on to him, it's going to be really hard for me to put the bridle on. So I didn't bring him back and hold him. I brought him back and I let him go. So now here we are and he understands. If he does it again, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm not going to let him talk me into holding him here. I put my bridle in my right hand over his nose. I'm not holding him down, but if I need it just to help, then my right hand is there. I'm going to put my thumb, my whole hand under the bit, and my thumb where there are no teeth. And then that encourages him to open up his mouth. And then I'm going to do one ear at a time, pushing the ears forward and bringing the bridle over. Then, now he's here. He can stand there by himself. I can get rid of the halter. I take the noseband and I'm going to make it nice and straight. And then I make sure to put the noseband underneath the cheek pieces. We use extra padding. I had that in my pocket. I don't want to have to be asking somebody to help me with that. Some bridles are going to have keepers here on the nosebands. This particular bridle does not, but most of the bridles that I do have them. Don't skip those, because what happens is that the noseband gets pulling the buckle down onto the horse. So any keepers that you have, you're going to utilize. And then we just look for the most used spots, or we ask the trainer, make our best guess, not too tight and not too loose if there's no marks. A lot of horses would be chewing on this by now. So this one first, then you're going to do the flash. I always do the flash up on the top of the nose band, at the top of the nose, so that the buckle has nothing to do with the lips. And then we're going to use, again, all the keepers that are available. Depending on how much extra you have, you might slip that down below the bit if there's a lot of extra, or leave it up high if it's just a short bit of extra leather here. And then the throat latch is last, and I want to make that tight enough that it doesn't look unattractive, but not too tight that when the horse is on the bit, that it doesn't look like it's pulling on their throat. And then these guys often have a keeper for the other side. So don't put two keepers on that side and no keepers on this side. And then as you're looking around at the bridle, you just make sure that all these keepers are, anywhere there's a keeper, that they're all nice and tidy. You don't want to have this flapping when you're riding. Okay, so any place that you have a keeper, and then balance it. You don't want to have the keeper all the way up there. It's not doing you any good. So you're going to have those balanced nicely. One thing I didn't do here is oftentimes we'll use Vaseline or some kind of ointment on the lips just to keep the lips from getting chapped from the riding. And you're going to put that on before you put the bridle on. Another thing to notice is many of our bits these days, they have these little arrows. And the arrow wants to be facing outward on the left side. And that shows you that the bit is hanging correctly in the horse's mouth. Now, it's not up to you to change the bit if your trainer has put it on possibly not knowing, or who knows, on purpose. But it might be prudent to tell your trainer if the arrow is on the other side or facing in the wrong direction. Perhaps somebody took the bridle apart and put it back together incorrectly. Another thing that's really important to me is the reins. The buckle of the rein needs to go from the left to the right when it's lying over the horse's neck. The way that they cut the reins, the length of the rein is in a way that it will hang nicely when it's on the right side. We ride with the extra part of the reins on the right side. So if you have that buckle going from the left to the right, then the rein is going to hang nicely. And if it's from the right to the left, it's going to have an uncomfortable bubble in it. I'm very particular about those kind of things as well. So that we would have to change from here. Did I wake you up? I'm very sorry. Again, it's something that you might want to ask your trainer first. But if you take a bridle apart and you're putting it back together again, notice how it is and make sure you put it back together the way that it was to start off with. And these are just a couple of things that are helpful so that you know where you started. These bits with the arrows facing outward on the left side. And to take the bridle off, you're going to start by undoing the flash, and then you're going to slide it through so that you don't lose this. How many times we lose these, and then this one keeper that isn't attached to anything is always falling on the floor. So be careful about that. I always slide it a little bit extra. Then I'm going to undo the noseband and the throat latch. I'm going to put that in my pocket so that I know where it is. And I have my halter, but again, he's not challenging me. I'm going to go one ear at a time. I pick it up. Now I'm doing exactly what I did before so that I can let it down gently and the bit isn't hitting the horse in the teeth. Again, Rudy needs to know to stay here, independent of me holding him here. And then I'll put the halter on and put him back on the cross ties. Good boy. Yes. Thank you. If you have a horse that's super excited, leaving the reins like that can give you a little bit of relaxation that they can't get away from you. But then you're going to take the reins off before you put the cross ties on.